Christoph Steding was born in the village of Voltringhausen in Lower Saxony to a peasant family that had been settled in the region for several centuries. Much like Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Scandinavia, which lost political animation ever since the 30 Years' War was concluded with the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. The area in which Steding grew up was more or less politically neutral since the decline of the Hanseatic League at the end of the 17th century. Only its incorporation into the North German Confederation of 1867, after Prussia's victory in the Austro-Prussian War, granted it some continued political significance. This fact may have influenced Steding's later decision to write his magnum opus on the contest between neutral states and imperial ones, like Bismarck's Reich and the Third Reich. The aim of the entire work is to reverse what Steding himself describes in the opening lines of his introduction as a withdrawal of the Germanic peoples from world history ever since the French Revolution. Already the decline of the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation from the end of the 30 Years' War signaled the end of the dominance of the Germans as the organizing force of the Holy Roman Empire. The victory of the Western powers, of the Swedes and the French, was at that time in 1648 as much the beginning of the disintegration of their kingdoms as the so-called victory of 1918. The liquidation of the ancient Frankish Empire in the French Revolution, the withdrawal of Sweden, the decomposition of Austria, the destruction of the Germanically infused Russia of Peter the Great, and the modern destruction issuing from within of the Anglo-Saxon world, of the empire, are only consequences of that process of the crippling of Central Europe that emerged most visibly with the 30 Years' War." End quote. Not only did Switzerland withdraw into a sterile neutrality, but the English and the Dutch too turned away from the Germanic core in Central Europe through their wide-ranging colonial enterprises. France, meanwhile, sought to steadfastly reduce the European influence of Germany from the time of Louis XIV up to the French Revolution and Napoleon Bonaparte. Bismarck's Second Reich was the first attempt to reverse the process of Germanic decline, and when Bismarck's efforts were undermined by the westernizing Kaiser Wilhelm II, Adolf Hitler arose to restore Germany to its rightful role as the authentic anti-liberal leader of Europe. Steding's work is, in this posthumous edition brought out by Walter Frank, divided into two parts. The first dealing with the ideological aspects of the political neutralization of the border states, and the second with the diverse forms of the cultural opposition of these neutral states to the Reich. The Bismarckian Reich and the Prussian state were the most important sources of the political renewal of Europe, and Hitler's Reich must be considered a continuation of the Prussian, insofar as it had the same political discipline and expansionist impulse. What Steding describes in this book is the cancerous corruption of European society that is today called modernism and cultural Marxism. And it is one of the merits of Steding's work that he pinpoints the cultural centers where this movement of degeneracy was initially located, in Basel, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and the other metropolises of Western Europe. Basel is, in Steding's synoptic view of European history, the center most responsible for the dissemination of cultural historiography that revolted against the masculine spirit of the Prussian Reich. The Reich and the Disease of European Culture, Part 2, translated by Alexander Jacob, available now.